Today's broadcast is being brought to you by wokeskiptracing.com. Look up phone numbers and email addresses with ease, with pricing as low as only 15 cents per match, not per search, per match. If there's no number or email address, you don't pay. Get accurate data in just minutes. wokeskiptracing.com. That's wokeskiptracing.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women and children of all ages, it's about that time. It's Monday Night Raw, real estate style. What's going on with it? It's the last Monday of September, going into October, and it is lucky Libra season. You know, it's time for us to stand up, y'all. Libras, where you at? I see we got about 20 people watching right now, live on multiple platforms. We are streaming live temporarily over here on Instagram. Make sure you hop on over to the YouTube channel for the full experience at ChrisMonroeSTL, because this will be shut off in about 10 minutes or less. And we're streaming live on Twitch, the gamer site, streaming live on Periscope at Chris Monroe Show. We're also streaming live on the Facebook group called the Woke Real Estate Investing Group on Facebook. So go ahead, put your name in, and let me know where you're coming in from, and I'll give you a shout out before we get started with the show tonight. We got a great one for you. I got a couple of brief announcements as well. Tomorrow night, that's the 29th of September, 6 p.m. Central, we're on with Rich Groves, the Hootie's House Buying Club Chris Monroe Show simulcast. That's right, we're going to be streaming live tomorrow. Multiple people from all over the United States. We're going to be talking that real estate talk, whether you're in St. Louis or you're in California or New York or wherever you are. You can join that Zoom call. We're going to be streaming it, but it'll be a Zoom call where we can all participate. All you got to do is go to stlviplist.com. That's stlviplist.com. You'll get on the email notification and you'll be notified of when we go live. Coming up on next week, that's October the 5th, we're going to be doing a real estate case study, how I'm making $600 passive cash flow on this beautiful house. And I mean, the house is beautiful. So nice, I wanted to move into it. Too bad it was too big, but I'm going to break all that down next Monday, October the 5th, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're tuned in for that. That's going to be a great show. The following week, on the 12th of October, we're on with Chris Senegal. And you might have seen him in a lot of things saying, oh, he's rebuilding Houston and doing a lot of development. What to do about gentrification. We're going to be talking to a real developer doing big moves down in Texas. That's October the 12th. Make sure you're tuned in for that as well. That's going to be a great show. If you ever want to be notified of any of the upcoming Monday night shows, all you have to do is text JV to 31996. That'll get you on the notification squad. Plus, you get that free joint venture agreement where you can work with other wholesalers, real estate agents, and other investors. It's real simple. Text the keyword JV to the phone number 31996, and that'll get you in there just like that there. Also, for those of you watching on the Woke Real Estate Podcast, or listening, I should say, you're listening on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and now Amazon Podcasts as well. Give us a 5-star rating. We need that. So let's see who we got up in here before we get this thing going, y'all. What's up? What's up? We got, what's up, WD Property Investments. I see you, bro. What's up, Wes? Orlando in the house, Florida. All right. I see we got people watching over on Periscope as well. Also tonight, I forgot, we'll be making it so you can actually come in and ask questions about anything too later on in the show. And all you got to do is go to wokerealestate.com. There's a link right at the top. You can just click that and it'll bring you actually into the broadcast, but we'll open it up later on. So without further ado, it's about that time, y'all. We about to get it popping.
And we have Mr. I Stay Woke, and Mr. I Stay
Woke. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is the student master teacher, Mr. I Stay Woke, Chris Monroe, and I'm right back at you with another real estate video. We have to bring in some people from other markets, other parts of the business, because there's a lot of parts of this business. You got wholesaling, creative stuff, Airbnbs, all this different stuff you can do. But sometimes you got to just bring it on home with selling that deal, dispositions, making that money on the back end. We definitely got a good person in for you tonight. What's up, Sterling? I see you over here on YouTube. Daniel in Texas tonight. I see you too as well. Good to have you on. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share it out in some Facebook groups, because we want to get as many people as possible in, because we got a great one for you tonight. Tonight we're going to have on Miss Ayla Melendez. That's right, coming out of Texas. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Miss Ayla, and welcome to the Chris Monroe Show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Glad to have you on. For people who may not know, who are you, Ayla, and what do you do?
I'm Ayla Melendez. I primarily always sell people's deals. I'm not too big on the acquisitions part, although I do acquire directly for a couple of buyers. I just sell people's deals. That's my favorite thing to do, dispositions.
So selling the deals. So that's a good thing there. So I know a lot of people focus a lot on, talking to sellers and beating them up on price and getting down for 2 cents. And you're like, no, when you get it, you still got to sell it, right?
Yep. It's not a deal until it's sold.
That's right. That's just half of the deal. So you do the other half where people don't even think about.
Yep.
Great. So when you get ready to sell a deal or something like that, is there anything you're looking for in particular that you want to make sure that you have before you even think about trying to sell a deal?
Always the photos, because I like to work harder, not smarter. So I try to get as much about the property as I possibly can. So I always ask, like, do you have a photo link? And like 9 times out of 10, people don't even take pictures of, the 5 major big ticket items, which are the things that an investor will look at to calculate rehab. So I'll ask questions regarding that before I even do my own due diligence, because sometimes like they'll send out the email blast and they're like 50,000, but then like you see that it's just a raggedy house with holes in it and all that when they send the pictures after the fact. So I always kind of want to know what it looks like, or at least their opinion of the condition. I always want to know that first before I just do anything of it. Personal preference though.
There's nothing wrong with that. So you saying that knowing the condition of that property that you're doing is very important.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate. What were you doing before you got into real estate and things like that?
Well, for the past 6 years, I actually did data entry and customer service with a company called Medtronic. It was durable medical equipment. I did that for 6 years, and I actually just quit like September of last year. And while I was still working, I actually was working full time, and then in the evenings going to do my real estate classes, which I completed in like August of last year. And while doing all those classes and everything and going to work and doing like my meal preps on the weekend for other people, I quit. And then after that, I actually met someone, which is still a good friend of mine, and he wholesales. So this is after I spent like $1,000 on the classes and everything, and thinking that the only way to get into real estate was to be a licensed agent or a realtor. So I already didn't know much about real estate, but I just knew that's where the money is. And me knowing very little, I only got in the only way I knew how to get in. So after paying for those classes, then meeting a wholesaler, he told me what he did. And anyone that knows or has taken any real estate courses, you know that those courses have nothing to do with wholesaling. It's like a whole different ball game. So me learning, everything in my mind was just like, is that illegal? Can you do that? Can you, like, it didn't make any sense to me. I didn't understand selling contracts versus houses. I didn't know anything. So I kind of started learning what he was doing and getting like the hang of it. And then I actually joined with his company as well to kind of get my foot in the door. So I pretty much started mid-October of last year. That's whenever I really got into real estate and started doing it full time.
Wow. So you're just 1 year in.
Yeah. Almost
Wow.
1 year, really.
So I know that transition had to be different from a regular 9-to-5 job. You say data entry, and now you're going straight into full-blown real estate stuff. I mean, is that a mindset shift? How did you do that transition?
Well, the only thing I knew about real estate is whenever I bought the property that I live in now 2 years ago. But I was like the first homeowner in my family, so no one really walked me into it. No one told me much of anything. My realtor helped me, but to a certain extent. So I really didn't even. I was a homeowner and I still didn't know much about real estate. But I remember my lender, he actually gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read it, and I swear I know everybody in real estate has read that book, but that book truly changed like my mindset. Whenever I started learning it, and I was like, dang, like I don't want that worker's mentality. It was also like mentally draining too. So reading that book really did change my mindset, and that book actually helped me quit. Like as soon as I put my 2 weeks in, instantly felt relieved. And I've been in customer service my whole life. I'm used to working on computers all day, over 40 hours sitting in the same spot. Like I'm used to that. All I know is customer service. So jumping into 100% commission was new to me. I've never even worked in sales before. So just last
Mm.
October, it kind of just forced me to just wing it and do it. Like
So were you afraid? I mean, were you like, oh man, what if I don't get any deals or what happens? I mean, did you have any fear at all?
Well, I started out in acquisition, so that's harder sales. I can admit that's harder sales. So I really didn't know. Like I'm good at like kind of talking to people, but just the whole mentality of acquisitions, I'm just like, why are we giving them so little for their house? Like, I don't know, something about it. It just felt weird to me, and I didn't feel comfortable, giving out those prices for someone's house, especially since like I'm a homeowner too. It's like I didn't know how to separate, the business from personal of it. So I was like, I like my first 3 weeks of doing it, I got a contract. I don't even know if that contract sold or not, but I
Dang.
got someone on contract and it was commercial. It was the weirdest experience getting my first contract. Like I was literally winging it, but I don't know how I got it. I don't think it was sales skills. It was just like I just kept talking to this man. 2 hours of Laffy Taffy jokes. That's how I was just laughing, but I didn't know what I was doing. And then, kind of being barely trained on the 1 to 4 contract or whatever for residential. That was all I knew. And this was a commercial property. So I really didn't know what I was doing, but it was a big transition, honestly, because I just didn't know anything. So I was just winging it.
Wow. So it seemed like a moral dilemma. Like I can't really give people this low price because, I mean, a lot of things people don't realize these numbers are made up anyway. All of them for everything. The computer I'm on right now, the phones we use every day, houses, all this stuff is just made up. Somebody made it up,
Yeah.
And when we get that in our mind that it was made up anyway, I can make up a number too. Why not?
True. I wish I had that mentality. I was just like, because I'm not a greedy person when it comes. I was like, I'm cool with making 5,000 if we just make them happy. I'm like too much of a pushover with acquisitions, I guess, or I don't know what it is.
There's nothing wrong with it. You just want to make sure you're being fair with people. That's the biggest thing, And a lot of people struggle with that dilemma. So, how do you feel like you overcame that? What made you feel like you stepped over, or is it something you still feel like you still go through now?
Well, I had started out doing acquisitions and it was primarily kind of just cold calling. So that's not even much personal contact. It was honestly, whenever I started doing dispositions, I actually got in front of people's faces. And I don't know how, me being such a shy person made me be more comfortable with speaking to people. But I did more face to face whenever I did dispositions, of course, because usually you work with almost the same pool of buyers. You're seeing the same people, building relationships. As to acquisitions, you can be whoever you want to a seller that you're going to deal with usually one time. So that wasn't me doing all that and convincing someone to sell the house, but dispositions was more of my comfort zone. Well, not even comfort zone, just stronger point. I'm good at building relationships, following up, proving why something should be worth that. Because you can't really tell a seller like, oh, the market is this, and a seller doesn't really care. They want what they want, and they know they have the upper hand in the market right now. So I guess that could have been why. But if I run the comps and everything and show it to a buyer, I'm like, hey, I ran this. I got this ARV. I got this. I'm good at like proving points with numbers. So I guess that helped me with the dispositions to get comfortable with it.
Yeah, we need every little bit of help we can get because it's a struggle. So great. So basically, so you're doing more so on the disposition side now, selling deals for, I guess if somebody else bring a deal, say, hey, I need a buyer. What type of ways are you going about finding buyers? Or are you using a list you already have, or do you go out and gain new buyers on a regular basis?
Whenever I was starting out, I pretty much depended on Facebook. And that's very hard trying to differentiate who's a buyer and who's a wholesaler, because of course, all of us, bio said, don't know. unless you know someone's LLC name and you're actually looking it up on the county appraisal district to see what they own or something, it's almost impossible to just know. But other than doing Facebook starting out, I actually joined a company and I used like some of their buyers list. I went to the auctions, the real estate auctions. That's where you can find like serious buyers. They, you know, all they know is buying from that auction. So wholesaling to them is just like, what? Like, you know, like it's a whole different world and it's crazy. They know nothing about wholesaling most of the time. So I think that's a good way as to how I met a few buyers as well. And networking events, like you'll see a few buyers at networking events, but most of the time it's wholesalers. But those ones that you see at networking events, those are probably the ones that started out as like a wholesaler and they're keeping good communication or networking with. I've also noticed that like the high end buyers that we all know, people with money go play golf or, you know, you go to a cigar bar, or anything high scale, you find the high buyer. So
That's right. So you got to hang out in the right places, huh?
yep. Network face to face, let people know you're serious. So just getting one foot in the door is the thing. Cause there's some buyers to where they're old school. So they only trust like a realtor. You know, they don't really trust wholesaling, which makes sense. You know, we've all worked with, you know, wholesalers to where they do things that they don't have like integrity or something. So it makes sense, like why some of them, the older version or the older generation will go with the realtor because they have that obligation. They went to school, you know, they don't want to lose that license. So of course
They feel more secure with that. I can understand that. More secure.
Yeah.
They know ain't gonna be no shady business. I know that's right. So tell me more about when you say, so you went to an auction and found buyers. So what is it better for a person that's actually looking for buyers at an auction to go without a deal and say, hey, I want to add you to my list? Or do you think it's better to say, I have this actual deal, I'm looking for a buyer, are you the one?
Oh, it's always best to actually have something because sometimes if you're just trying to, it's almost like an interview process. Like for one, these buyers like have these sheets in their hands, so they're focused on this house. So talking to them is already, you got to be quick and direct. They don't want to sit here and have conversation when they're going to miss, you know, they're yelling out houses consistently. So you just kind of got to slide in and just like, hey, I have a few off market properties. I've been working with people like real quick. And then the first thing they're going to say is, oh, yeah, here's my number, here's my name, the card, whatever. They're usually real quick to give it to you, but telling them, hey, I have a couple of properties right now that we can go see right after here. Like, you got to kind of push them or steer them to like, hey, I have it now so we can go see it. Because I forgot who it was. Someone had told me, they were like, yeah, they don't even know like the hidden fees with buying from an auction. Personally, I don't know buying it from an auction, but somebody had told me, yeah, some buyers, there's some type of fees that they sometimes have to get for these houses. And I was like, well, I don't know about that, but I used it. And I was like, I don't know if you're paying any hidden fees or anything, but if you buy from me, whatever that price is, it's that plus the closing cost. I told him I didn't know because, again, personally, I don't know. That's one thing I always disclose. If I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know.
Yeah, because there's
I don't know what you're paying
some of them have it, what they call it, a buyer's premium. They have a buyer's premium like 10% sometimes on top of the price. Like, dang, so don't bid too high.
Well, see, I didn't know that. Someone had mentioned me, it's something hidden to where they're just like, oh, you're going to buy it, but you're also going to pay for this. And I was like, I don't know what those fees are, but I'm sure some of them don't know that either. So if you definitely have at least something on contract, that's way better to build a connection. Because honestly, like I know you have to build relationships with buyers, but if you don't ever have good deals, your relationship's only going to go so far. You know, what are you going to talk to them for? You're just going to follow up, ask about the family? Like, no, they want a good deal.
Right. And I do want to ask about that as well. What do you think about when people just call people and they don't have a deal? Hey, yeah, I'm just calling to find out your buying criteria and this and that. Do you believe that's something that people should work on or just work on the stuff when they actually get a deal?
Well, that's good. If you just want to call to kind of introduce yourself, that's good as well. Because starting out, I was doing that. I'm like, hey, I just want to, you know, figure out what's your exit strategy? What's your buying criteria? So whenever I come across it, I want to send it to you first. So, you know, that kind of gives them hope to at least give you 10 minutes to explain it or something. But it's just is always best to have a deal because that's how they're going to judge you anyways, based on what you have, not just what you say.
Right. They know you're serious, not because you know how many people will call. They call my company all the time. Hey, yeah, I'm working on buying the deal. So you got something right now? What you got? Oh, no, we working on it. Well, here's my email. Hit me up when you got some or call me or whatever. Because I'm like, I don't really want to have a long conversation about just, you know, what ifs. Give me a deal.
Yeah, I agree. Because like you're wasting these people's time. A lot of the buyers, they're on a whole bunch of people's buyers list, so they're seeing deals all the time. You got to stand out, and then you get a reputation for your numbers too. If you send out about 2 or 3 bad deals, you're gonna start ignoring it. But that's the same thing the wholesalers do with each other as well. You're like, that company is always overpricing deals. I'm not even going to take time to try and JV. It's natural. Like, it's your numbers are your reputation. So if you see a continuous pattern with numbers that you know are off, why waste your time?
That's true. That's true. Make sure everybody that's watching, we got about 40 people watching now live on the live stream. And Instagram, we're about to end, y'all. So if you want to jump on over to the YouTube channel at ChrisMonroeSTL, y'all are out. Bloop. All right. And so now you did mention something here about wholesalers. How do you figure out, or what type of questions do you ask to figure out if they're a wholesaler versus they're a real cash buyer?
Mm-hmm. Well, I usually ask sometimes like their LLC. I'm like, oh, what do you usually buy under? Because like the LLC name of a buyer is usually different from like a wholesaler. A wholesaler will always have one like mine's A1 Investments, but like so that's kind of hard to tell. But it could be like A1 Home Solutions, like solutions fixing problems. End buyers don't really do that, they just buy. They don't. That the solutions part is more like, hey, okay, you deal with sellers, you know what I mean? It's sometimes that LLC name says a lot for it. And just asking questions, just specifically be direct with them. You can say, hey, have you bought any for your own portfolio? And then that'll be like, they're like, no, I'm just building capital. I've heard a lot say, no, I'm just building capital. So whenever I get capital, then I'll buy. So I'm like, oh, okay, so you're just wholesaling for now. Like I like to be direct. I'm like, what are you doing? So I know, how to approach you if I come across something,
Yeah, because you gotta weed out the other ones because they show be. It's been some wholesalers that have been aggressive, like, yeah, man, I like the deal, so I'm about to send you this JV agreement. I'm like, what? You talking about?
Right?
I ain't talking JV and nothing.
I didn't approve of that. We're not gonna just how you just offer to take my money.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you this JV agreement, joint venture. No, I don't know about that. I don't even know your name. Who is this? But they getting aggressive out here. So cool. So finding out them. And another thing I always ask them too is, what title company do you use? If they can't spit off one in the first 10 seconds, they probably ain't closing no deals, right?
Uh-huh.
Hit them with something they can't even think of the answer. Like, I don't know. What one you use? You ain't closing no deals, bro. You can't name one of them in town. You probably ain't real.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because like like what wholesaler do you know that's just always is like that's just out here using an attorney? So you know what I mean? Like I understand for subject to or something, but that's actually a really good question to try and screen somebody.
Most definitely. You got to ask the right questions to get the right answers.
Yep.
So cool. Let's see here. They say Ayla's a beast. All right, whoever that is on the Facebook Woke Real Estate Investing Group, in the description, there's a little link that says click this to show your name so we can see who you are, and it'll show up on the screen here. It's right there, right in the description, like in the first little three sentences. So yeah, they saying, hey, they ship you shout outs. Ayla, they say, yeah, she on her doing it. Angie B buys houses. What up? So cool. So when it comes to these dispositions and doing these deals, so do you go and just give them a price on an end buyer? Say you got a deal that you're selling. Mm-hmm. Do you go ahead and say, here's the price, give me your highest and best? Or do you say, this is the price and you just take the first come, first serve?
Well, the way that I shop it out is very different from like a lot of either wholesale companies or wholesalers. I honestly don't like doing email blasts. I feel like it's so impersonal. It's easily overlooked. And some people create like email blasts that are just so fancy. It looks like spam, so it automatically goes to your spam folder. It happens to me. People are like, I sent it to you twice, I sent it to you again. And I'm like, I didn't get it. And I check my spam and it's in there. So I'm like, if that happens to me, it's gotta happen to these buyers. But whenever I do it, like honestly, I know it's first come, first serve, but I'm like, no, the people that always reply to my deals, you are my VIP person. I need you to respond because like, I understand that I'm bringing an off-market deal and bringing a buyer is how you actually close the deal, but I don't want them to treat me like an option. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, hey, I'm bringing you an investment. This is lifelong money you're going to get. I'm getting one-time paid off of you. So you got to make it seem like, hey, you need me just like I need you. So I always call my quickest buyers that I know, always answer, always text back, always email. So the most responsive people always get the deal first. That's how I do it. And then like if I'm not getting what I want as close as offers, then I might just send it like 20 people at a time, 20 people at a time. I just send it honestly individually like that, like 20 people at a time, honestly. I don't ever just blast it in bulk. And I know that helps with like a lot of people, but with all these emails, like I'm just overly organized. Like no offense to any wholesaler, but I send my deals to, wholesalers last option. You know what I mean? Like I actually have my buyers list organized. It's like top priority till I'm like, hey, they might reply. Or if I just have like kind of specific notation, like, hey, I know you buy in this area. I know you know it well. So I kind of go off of their offers because I know they know that that area.
Right. So have you ever had somebody pay more than what you were asking for a property?
Definitely, yeah. and
I know,
it wasn't even like ripping anybody off. It's like I didn't even know how good of a deal it was. But you never know how good a deal is until you're getting feedback on it. Like that, like doing dispositions taught me how to be a buyer. I go out and I acquire directly for buyers. Like right now, I'll go out, I'll make the option, everything. I go out and act as a buyer now. So it's like disposition, like all the feedback you hear from buyers, it's either a rebuttal and an excuse to get it lower, or that's the honest to God truth. Like if you're ironically getting offers around the same price range, that's just where you need to be in that deal. But you'll sometimes get the one-off ones. Like some people buy at 80%. They're cool to get a 20% return. So send it to those people first. You already know you're going to get the most money. So
yeah, buy and hold, people pay a little more, right?
Yep.
That's the kind of people we want. And also for people that's watching on the live stream here, we are trying something new. If you do want to come in and ask a question live on the air, go to wokerealestate.com. There's a big button at the top if you want to actually join into the stream. I'm going to try it out and see if anybody want to try that. So if you want to jump into the actual broadcast here to ask a question, hit that wokerealestate.com. There's a big link right at the top. So Ayla, when it comes to assignment fees, now, most people have it in their mind that, a wholesaler is supposed to make $10,000 or less. Have you ever had chances where, or how do you deal with that of showing that, hey, yeah, I'm making a $25,000 or $30,000 assignment fee? Have you run into problems like that?
Are you asking to where a buyer has had a problem with what the assignment fee was?
Yeah.
I've had I don't think I personally have, but I have had buyers to where they specifically told me, hey, I don't mind if you make about 5,000-10,000 on the deal. They kind of give me that little hint, like, I'm gonna pay up to this much. So those are the people I'm like, no, like, honestly, it shouldn't matter how much anybody is making on the deal. You are supposed to buy a deal, not a steal, but a deal. So work with the people that don't care if you're getting paid. Like a lot of people don't even understand what wholesalers go through to get it on contract. There's times where it take you months and months and months and months just to contract a seller. And if it's like a rundown home in the city, everybody's targeting that house. Everybody's calling that seller. Everybody stopped by that seller's house. So for you to finally be the one to make it through to get it on contract, some buyers don't understand that or they don't appreciate that. So I don't think I personally come to the point to where someone had a problem with that though. But I've heard them mention it like being slick.
Yeah, like you're supposed to make this much or that much. You're not supposed to be making too much. And I'm like, how you gonna count somebody else's wallet? That's crazy.
Exactly. I'm like, if you care about how much people made, you on the wrong end of the deal then. Because I understand sometimes you have a $30,000 assignment fee and the end buyer that's buying the property, renovating it, listing it, or selling it, or whatever, they might only make 20,000. But again, you chose to be on that part of the deal. So it's not even ripping them off. It's like, hey, this is my position in the deal and I'm selling a deal to you. So you're still buying it at a deal price. Like that's why it really is good to ask somebody, do you buy a 70%? Do you buy a 75%? Like figure out where they're trying to buy, because that's where a lot of those offers that come in too. People try to buy like 50 cents on the dollar. I'm like, where are you? What? Like,
somebody getting ganked somewhere.
For real.
Definitely. Right. So you don't have a problem making a huge assignment fee if it was $100,000 assignment spread, even though I haven't ever run across one of them, but I've seen others make $100,000 spreads on a wholesale deal. Like, good night. They don't even own the house, no cash, no credit, no license, and make that kind of money on one deal. I mean, you don't have any problem making a big check, right?
No. But I'm
Oh,
also not greedy. You know what I mean? Like I'm just, like dispositions. I know it's easier than acquisitions, but I'm just not greedy. Like I like building relationships with people. So I care more about volume than trying to just get rich on every single deal.
right. I know that makes sense. So you said volume is best.
Mhm.
Do you have a minimum? Say if it don't make at least 2 or 3 grand or this X number that I don't even mess with it. Do you have a number like that?
I think 2,000 to 3,000, and I'm just like, oh, I'll walk out to it once because that it may sound lazy, but whenever I go out to a property, I'm like, I like to go one time. I would take a picture of the whole house from top to bottom, inside and out. Like I feel like I shouldn't have to go to a house more than once. So for me, going that one time, I make it worth it. $2,000 for going to a house one time. Honestly, to me, that's you know what I mean. I know that's very low for like an assignment fee or a fee or JV or whatever. I know that's low, but to me, I'm just like, well, I drove to a house one time, took pictures, and I sold a deal. So to me, I'm not greedy. I just want to build relationships and build volume. So I'm
That's
cool with
so amazing. That you spoke in that just like a true real estate investor. I mean, people are, oh, just 2,000 to go look at a house one time. It just sounds weird like saying that, but that's exactly what it is.
because that's really what you're doing. I feel like I've been in like literally over like 200 houses literally within the past year. So I only need like 5 minutes walking in and out of the house. I do like very detailed videos and everything. I'm like, hey, I like that because I go out and act as a buyer now. So I know what to look at and I know what to look for. Like me being dispositions helped me to be, a better buyer. And me doing that, it helped me learn. It was like, I know how to go out and buy for myself.
Right, right. So are you good with doing like joint ventures or JV agreements with other people like that's in town? And what town are you in anyway? I didn't even let you tell everybody where you're at.
San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, so if people in San Antonio or get a deal in San Antonio, do you do JV deals and things like that with them?
Yeah. And there's so many people that I trust to where I know this is bad, but I honestly don't even sign JV agreements like that. I know I'll put my name on the assignment so the title company will pay me, but I don't always even do like a JV agreement.
Okay, so you trust them, say, but once they burn you once, what happens?
Once what?
What if they burn you one time and say they don't pay you? What happens?
No, I don't play when it comes to that. I'm not gonna pull up on somebody or anything, but I just don't play because honestly, I don't rip people off. Like I don't owe anybody money whatsoever, so I have no reason not to even answer anybody's calls or texts. I'm extremely responsive. People send me things because they know that I'm gonna reply to it. That gives me a lot of business. Just always answering the phone and always texting back or always replying to emails. That alone is like lost in the world of real estate. People do not answer the phone. Like I don't get it.
I know that's right. I thought you said I'm gonna pull up to their mama house. Like, damn,
I ain't doing that.
don't get them for the 2 grand. I know that's right, or whatever it is. So we're gonna take a couple of questions right now. Like I said, if anybody actually want to hop into the stream, go to wokerealestate.com. There's a button right there at the top of the page. You can just click that; it'll bring you right into the live broadcast. If you want to ask a question on air, looks like Daniel has a question here. He says, where is her buyers located? What is the JV breakdown split?
Where are my buyers located? My buyers are located in San Antonio, of course. I know a wide variety of buyers in Houston and very little in Dallas. I've done a deal. I've done a couple of random deals in random places of Texas, but I wouldn't even say that they were like my buyers. That was kind of like one-off luck situations, like Liberty, Texas, like little random places. And I can't even tell you where that is in Texas, but it was like, but honestly, you can sell as long as something is contracted at the right price, it's a deal. I'm just saying, like the buyers that I frequently speak with or I've sold deals to more than once, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas.
So wait a minute. So you're saying this little small town, Liberty, Texas, you didn't even go there?
No.
So
Oh, there's plenty of deals that I've sold to where I never even went to the house and I've never even met the buyer before.
Right, right. I just like to let that be said on air because a lot of people can't really conceptualize that. They think I gotta run out every time. Like, man, you need that paperwork done, get it entitled, get your check. All that other stuff, you're working too hard and stressing yourself.
Working too hard. We know we don't do that. I mean, I agree with working hard, but if you can avoid making a trip, why do it? That I'm just bigger on work smarter versus harder. I also know some people are better with doing face-to-face business, especially some buyers. They're like, hey, can I meet you and give you the check? I'm like, okay, take it to the title company. Like, you know what I mean? It's pointless, but if you got to do that initially to build rapport or something, it makes sense. But honestly, there's plenty of buyers I've never met before, and I speak to them like pretty frequently. As long as
Especially,
you're respectful, I
especially
don't care.
during the Rona, especially during this Rona season, we ain't
Oh,
got to
true,
beat up
true.
nobody.
I forget we're still going through that.
Yeah, we're rounding the turn or whatever they've been saying. So hopefully it's over. Let's see here. Let's see. He says, oh yeah, and I was gonna ask you about the split. What is the 50
Oh
50?
yes.
The 50 50 or what is the split on it?
Well, as soon as I got into real estate, I was taught honestly on common sense. Hey, if I'm gonna bring 50% of the deal, which is the buyer, I'm gonna ask for 50% of the assignment fee. Now, again, I know that some people do work hard and they do a lot with the seller, or I don't know how long they've been on that deal. So sometimes I'm just like, oh, 40%. But again, like sometimes it's just a flat fee. You know what I mean? I don't care how much they're making either. I'm just like, well, my participation in the deal. So I'm gonna just be like, hey, just $5,000, and I'm just gonna go out there once, just random stuff. Sometimes I'll go lower just to build a relationship with someone so they can bring me deals again too. So I don't even always go off of like a percentage.
Yeah.
Sometimes flat fee.
So cool. Amani says, I like her. She's the truth. Honest.
When you read it.
All right. Damon Brown says, what's the best methods for marketing to sellers?
I rarely ever deal with sellers, honestly. Lately, for the past 2.5 months, I've been doing bandit signs, and I can honestly not recommend that.
Oh,
Only
why
because
not?
it's nothing but wholesalers that call me. I've had electricians that call me, spam people call me. I've had buyers call me, and I'm like, what? Like, it specifically says I buy houses, and honestly, 90% of the calls I get, they're like, oh, do you sell houses rent to own? I'm like, does the sign say that? Like, but honestly, I just wouldn't recommend a bandit sign. You're gonna get calls, but not the calls that you want from sellers. Because when people want to sell, 9 times out of 10, if they're calling a sign, it's because they know it's overpriced. They just want to see if you're dumb. Honestly, from my experience, that's what I can say. Texting, because I feel like more people will be open to texting versus answering the phone all the time, especially with some people's cell phone settings. They might anytime it's like an unknown or unsaved number, it'll go straight to voicemail. But I think texting is really good. I wouldn't recommend anybody do that because I don't know the legality with texting, so don't listen to me on that. Because sometimes those text lines is not always legal, so I wouldn't recommend that. But
Ayla told me to text them, so I'm texting.
Ayla didn't. You must know two Aylas.
Not me. No. All right. Cool.
Door knocking. I actually love door knocking, though. You know what I mean? I actually like door knocking. If somebody answers the door, hey, you got an opportunity. They answered the door. They were curious about something. I really do recommend door knocking. I love that, honestly.
Okay. Cool. That's the best method for marketing for sellers. And Damon, make sure if you actually are looking for more leads and you can process, go to wokesource.com and get your free 7-day trial. Wokesource.com. In fact, if you just go to wokerealestate.com, right on the marketing page, there's a full length thing, all the services that I use and recommend every day to get more leads than I can even process. So check that out. That'll help you get you some more leads right there.
You have a full service on your website.
Oh yeah, it's a one-stop shop. WokeRealEstate.com. That's where we hang out. All right, so let's see here. Do we have any other questions in here? Let's see here. Oh, okay. Rich Groves, what up? Hey, Chris. Hey.
Hey, Rich. I haven't joined in your lives lately.
Yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night with Rich, 6:00 Central Time. We're going to be on with him. Have a virtual network.
Tuesday.
Yep, Tuesday night. Let's see, Galveston County, Texas. Is that where that Liberty place is? I guess this is what they're saying.
Possibly. I'm telling you, there's.
And then Tech Lady wants to know: does Ayla offer training?
Honestly, I've only been in real estate for 1 year, so I can only teach you just what I know. So I don't even think I would do training, honestly, because again, I'm still new. I'm never afraid to tell anybody that. I haven't even been in real estate for a full year. And a lot of the stuff I've learned is just by winging it, jumping out and doing it. Like, I can honestly admit that dispositions taught me a lot. Getting out and going to properties, learning the accurate amount for rehab versus doing a square footage of a calculation. I know that sounds crazy, but honestly, whenever I was doing disposition or just like sitting in an office all day, I was learning it like, 800 square foot house by, $40. I'm like, that's not always accurate. I went out and I go to Home Depot. I'm in and out of rehabs and flips and projects, like talking to contractors, learning, going out, looking at the numbers specifically. But again, like all I can teach you is mainly just dispositions. So I don't think I would offer training right now.
They ready
It's just based on what I know, based on what I've done. I would never try to sell or teach anybody anything based on what I heard. I can only teach you just stuff that I've experienced or done myself. And since I only have about a year in the game, I don't think I should be training much. Not because I'm not confident, but I'm like, hey, if you want to learn something, go to experts. People been in here like 5 years. I just prefer you go to expert.
They want some of that Ayla training. They say, you know all this stuff. Teach me everything you know. So 1 year in real estate, what kind of words do you have for people that are thinking about getting into real estate? Do you think they should get their license? More so come on into this wholesaling stuff, get into the creative stuff? What would you recommend a person that's kind of entry level on the edge thinking about getting into this business?
Well, see, the way I entered, as I mentioned earlier, all I knew was get licensed. And honestly, because no one in my family, they weren't homeowners. No one in my family knows anything about real estate. So all I knew is, oh, you got to be a realtor to get into real estate. So I did the courses and I never even went back to go take the test. I just learned the education of it, kept all the books, all that. So honestly, I would recommend just doing the experience of the classes. Plus you're there learning and networking with those realtors that you started with. I don't ever tell anybody or recommend them to get their license. There's nothing against it. Getting your license, that's more opportunity for you. Personally, I wouldn't do it because with dispositions, that's mainly sending out all the emails, all that. And when you're licensed, you have to disclose. And whenever you disclose that, a lot of buyers are already like, I'm not paying that realtor commission. instantly. But,
wow.
I don't know. That's 50-50. I hear good and bad about it, but personally, I just don't want to get licensed. That's just a personal preference. Just because you have to overly disclose things and not even like, oh, I want to be sneaky, shady, or not. Like, no, you have to just connect documents on every single transaction about a property. And I just don't want to do that because sometimes I send it out through a text. And if I send it out through a text, I don't want to put all these disclaimers and it's just too much. That's just personal preference.
Yeah, and I think about it as, why make 3% when you can make 3,000%?
Right? Yep. I agree with that. You can create your own check in wholesaling, honestly. You really can. You can create your own check.
I know that's right. So have you done deals or worked with real estate agents in transactions in the past?
Yes. And I prefer to work with the investor-friendly agents. Only because I don't have to actually teach them what wholesaling is, and I don't have to explain how everything is legal, what we're doing. You know what I mean? Because some just don't. Some are just like the old school agents. They learn this way. They went to school. They only know real estate this way. And I'm just like, well, I just prefer not to always have to do a deal with someone that I have to teach the process by process because it's a little lengthy. I like working with new ones and stuff, but sometimes it's lengthy only because they doubt everything or they think everything is wrong. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's 100% legal. We do it through a title company. A title company wouldn't let you do something illegal.
Yeah, I have a lady like that now that I have a lady right now that I'm working with. So, I've been a real estate agent 25 years. I ain't never heard of none of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. That's your fault.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard trying to tell them because I was the same way. I finished all these courses to learn how to, dot my I's and cross my T's, and I jump in here and I'm like, y'all are just writing anything in the provisions box. Like that was probably my biggest thing. I was like, you're just writing whatever. Like everything they don't teach you anything like that in the classes to get your license. So it was just different to me. Not so I wasn't too skeptical, but it's just completely different. Because if you're paying to get a license to learn how to do something the traditional way, and you see that people with no experience, no license, no education can just call and get stuff on contract and make $10,000, you're just like, how did you do that with nothing? But I spent $1,000 to overly disclose, it's completely different. So again, I love working with them. I just rather work with the ones that are investor friendly, that have knowledge about wholesaling.
That's right, because I don't mind working with them too. And they'd be like, they come to me, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm about to send you an invoice. You trying to get a whole class.
Right? They're trying to school you and get you on the phone. So what do you do? I'm like, hold on, are we doing this deal? You're trying to get a lot of free information off of me.
How does that really work? Can I meet you for coffee? I bet you've done coffee now.
Those 10 days, yep. I'm like, why? You don't even have anything I want. No, I'm kidding. No.
You never know. So cool. So what about what are you planning on doing? What are your goals in the future? Do you plan on staying in dispositions, moving into buying holds, flipping properties yourself? What are you going to be doing in the future?
Honestly, you should never let go of, because even whenever you acquire for yourself, if you don't want it, why not make money off of it on somebody else? So I feel like wholesaling is probably a forever thing. You know what I mean? Because why pass up on the opportunity? But I've learned a lot about seller finance within like the past 3 months, and that's seriously the way to go. Seller finance is everything to me. For the numbers, the calculation, the exit strategies, even with seller finance, I think that's seriously the way to go. I love that, and that's literally the only goal.
Most definitely. Get you some doors and have them pay you more.
Exactly.
No,
Hey, that's what you do, right? You do seller finance. Only
that's
that.
the world I live in. It's creative real estate, making deals where everybody else run the other way. I make a way to make a play. So that's what I'll be trying to find out. How can I, create a situation where everybody wins in the end? It may not fit, just a traditional wholesale strategy all the time, which is nothing wrong with it. But I would rather find a way for me to stay in a deal. I mean, if you wholesale and get rid of it, you got to go chase the next check. I don't want to be chasing checks forever. I mean, I want to retire, soon one day. I'm already semi-retired, but I want to be retired.
Like nothing, still getting paid retired.
That's right. Checks coming in, whether you roll out of bed or stay asleep all day or whatever.
Yep.
Cool. So let me see what we got here. Any other questions y'all got in here? Let's see here. Cool, Ayla. I learned by doing too. See, you got people that's relating to you, Ayla. Look at that.
Well, let's do a deal.
That's right. Bring a deal. So bring a deal down in San Antonio. You say you do some in Dallas too. And what was the other place?
Houston.
And Houston. So you're right in that the big three.
The big cities in Texas. Those are also 3 really good markets, though.
Yeah, it's very competitive there from what I understand. Is it really like that in San Antonio too?
Yep.
Okay.
It is, but there's always deals though. I think it's competitive, maybe more competitive on the acquisition side.
Oh, really? Okay.
That might be the more competitive standpoint from it. But on my end, I don't really think it's that competitive.
So you make it through.
I just love the buyer side. Like, if you want to be a buyer, why would you not work with buyers? The 2 buyers I'm with now, they're great mentors. They teach me everything, from the numbers to why you should do it, why you should not do it. And I'm telling you, crazy. Even as acquisitions, you're asking, oh, what condition is your roof in? Oh, do you have a breaker box, a fuse box? Oh, I didn't even, honestly, I was a homeowner. I didn't even know the difference from a breaker box or a fuse box till I started going in these houses and looking at them and figuring out how much it costs to switch those. Even whenever it comes to looking at the gas meter and the electric meter outside, I'm not trying to use the fact that I'm a female, but I'm a female. I don't know half of this stuff on a house, especially like I own a condo, so I don't even have to deal with half of the stuff that I'm going out to go look at. So honestly, dispositions taught me a lot about houses and costs, and I appreciate that so much.
Cool. So you also mentioned that mentors and stuff kind of helped you out. What kind of advice do you give a person that's kind of getting into this business? How do they find a mentor of their own?
Always go with the person that's actually out here doing it. As simple as that is, find the person doing it. Because wholesaling, you can learn that on YouTube. You can learn it from doing, Facebook, from anywhere. But learning from an investor that actually owns properties, I think that's the best education. It truly is, because like they already went through the process. You're going to hear about, their wins, their losses, their everything. And that's the best education ever, because we all take losses in life, in real estate, no matter what part of the transaction. But those losses as an end buyer is completely different. You know what I mean? Wholesalers, we might say something and, oh man, we lost this deal. But imagine an end buyer losing a deal. They lost probably like $20,000. So those are the real life lessons. Always learning from the people that are doing it. More than anything.
Right. Action takers, not talkers. Everybody, I do this, I do that. And you look around, you ain't never did nothing but talk. It's out here. Cool. Let's see here. Lion says, how do you find the deals? Oh, yeah, she mentioned it a little bit earlier. Marketing. You know, you got to reach out to some people, basically distressed sellers, whether it's through bandit signs, which you said you don't recommend because too many people are calling in, which, you know, that's
They're usually not sellers from my experience.
yeah, you get a lot of calls. You got to be able to handle those calls that's coming in. Bandit signs, driving for dollars. Do you do any driving for dollars, like driving around finding houses like that, or you don't mess with that really?
I don't specifically drive for dollars, but anytime I pass a neighborhood that I never seen, I'll just go in it whenever it's en route, and I always like write down that address to try and look it up later. But I don't ever just plan a day and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go driving for dollars. That's something that I did whenever I first started. I probably did like 500 addresses and then skip tracing it. I'm like, man, this is the manual way. Like, again, like starting out, I did a lot of hard stuff, putting out the bandit sign myself, writing on myself, and I don't do all that now because I'm. But finding another way to find deals is the wholesalers. Join all these Facebook groups. Start networking with people. I just called a girl that she comments on my Facebook all the time, and I called her today, and I was like talking to her about cooking and giving her recipes and stuff. Like, network with the people on your Facebooks. Talk business to them. You're in the same city. Why not? Like, wouldn't you rather get deals from things that are already on the contract? You know.
People right there in your own family can have a deal. You know, one of my family members told me, "Oh, I went and spent $500 to learn real estate." I said, "You didn't know I was doing this or something?"
Oh man, that's the worst.
You want to go pay the people, you know, pay the big people to come on the radio and tell you you can be a real estate investor.
Oh man.
$497, they paid it. Let's see here. Lion Mike says it can't be that easy. It is that easy. Would you agree? Is it easier, or would you say it's difficult?
The people make it difficult, but the actual task itself is not difficult.
Wow.
But
So
it can be easy. Seriously, go in Facebook groups. Whenever people post a deal, reach out to that person and say, hey, are you open to JV? Hey, are you looking to at least pay me like a referral fee if I can bring a buyer? That's honestly a simple way to get a deal because it's already on contract. That's the easiest way to get a deal is when it's already 50% of the deal is already done. The hardest part is whenever you have to speak to sellers, convince them to sell their house, convince them why you needed it, at a certain price. That's harder. The easy part is, reaching out to people who already have it, or reach out to realtors. They have access to the MLS. They see, those sellers that they don't understand that their house is not worth much, so they have to list it on the MLS. Like, go to those realtors, go to the realtors and tell them, hey, send me your pocket listings. Send it to me before you even list it so you don't have to upload all those documents and pictures and stuff. Just reach out to people.
Pocket, that's my favorite. Right in their pocket. They ain't even listed yet. They call you first.
Yep.
Let's see here. Periscope family showing up big over here. Do you recommend creating your own investor group for making deals?
That would be good. I've never done it. I don't think I've created a Facebook group at all. I'm in like probably 500 of them already made, but that's a good idea to try doing that though. Yeah.
Create your own economy. That's right.
I thought of doing one, but then I'm like, I don't want to get in there. I was like, I don't feel like giving up with it.
It's a lot of work. Lion 314 wants to know, how much do you need to get started?
All you need is time. You don't need money to get started.
Most definitely. That's important. I mean, I teach, it's three main things that you need, if you want to. It's only three ways you're going to get into the business. One, a big cash buyer, meaning you got a big stack of money you ain't doing nothing with, sitting in a 401k, you're a cash buyer. Two, you got that good credit score, that 800 plus, and don't die with that, please. Do something with it. Leverage it into an empire. And then three, the third way is the knowledge, knowing to do these deals, how to structure deals, know how to communicate, sales. When you know how to work these deals, you don't need $1. Don't even need $1 at all if you know how to do it. It's all about strategy. So cash, credit, or just the knowledge. Knowledge is my favorite one because if you don't have the knowledge, you can lose that cash and your credit. Let's see what we got here. So any other questions or anything y'all got dropping in here before we wrap this thing up? Ayla, so what kind of mistakes have you learned from in the past that you want to avoid going into the future that others may learn from?
Not getting a deposit from a buyer, especially during COVID. Like, there were some buyers to where they use hard money. Oh, wait. So I guess like my initial mistake is not finding out what these buyers are buying with. We can't assume that just because these are like cash deals and cash prices that everyone's paying cash. There's some buyers that buy with hard money. And with hard money, you're going to have to get into that property more than once. You got to get their appraisal. Some of them get an inspection, so on and so forth. So whenever COVID hit, I had a buyer that had to back out because he lost his job. And I was like, well, what's that? You know, in my opinion, I'm like, you're buying the house cash. What you use your money, you know? But no, it was a hard money lender. And I didn't even get a deposit either. Starting out, I was like, oh, well, because some people honestly feel sketchy with that. Some people, they're so quick to close, they get offended if you ask them for a deposit. So me just being, oh, I didn't know, whatever. And then I'm like, man, I held out 2 months on this deal and I didn't get paid anything because I didn't even get a deposit. So that sucks.
EMD, that earnest money deposit, is so important. Until the deposit is dropped, the marketing don't stop. That's my motto.
Correct.
Put some skin in the game, because these people be acting like they're, you know, big buyers and all that, and I don't believe them. You know what I mean? Even, and that's another way I weed out, you know, some wholesalers from cash buyers. If we're talking to a person, you know, how much EMD are you able to put down? Oh, I usually put $100. No, not over here. You
like,
sound
no,
like
not
a
to the
wholesaler.
seller, I meant to me.
Yeah, to me, you need to put, you know, 2-3 grand. You know, I had some people put 5,000 down. See, that's the thing. So that non-refundable earnest money is important, because if they don't close, guess what? You get to keep it, right?
Yep.
Free
So
money.
you at least got paid for something, and it makes them act more, you know, they have more a sense of urgency to buying it because they already got 3,000 in. So
Yeah, they got some skin in the game. So they usually act right. I mean, so do you go about do you ask them for what is it, proof of funds?
no, I usually don't ask for that.
Yeah, me neither. I've
I'm
never
like,
been.
deposit. I'm like, that's gonna be the initial proof of funds right there, is paying the deposit.
You drop me 2 or 3 grand down, I'm sure you're gonna bring the rest of the money for the deal. If not, I get to keep your money. So you will act right. I promise you.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because
So
no matter how much money you have, you still don't want to lose a few $1,000s. Yeah.
right. So, and also when it comes to that, do you tell them exactly what your deposit is, or do you ask them, hey, how much can you put?
I just tell them.
What
I
is
mean,
that? How much
that
do you
shouldn't
put?
even be something negotiable. It's like, if you want this deal, put something down. Especially if I've never done business with them before. It's like kind of the initial way you do business kind of sets the tone.
What
So
do
I'm
you
like,
usually
hey,
ask for? How much?
3,000 down now. If we do a few deals, or I just build a relationship with you, I might know, hey, you're a serious buyer. You close quickly. You don't ever try to lowball me after already getting on contract. So I respect the fact that they respect me. So I'm like, hey, sometimes it doesn't matter.
So you say $2,000?
I do 3,000.
3,000. All right. So if they ain't even dropping 3,000, don't even look at the house. You're wasting your time. Cool. All right. Let's see what we got here. Coming out of bankruptcy, how free and clear? What should I do?
I'm not sure.
Well, like I say, we're not. Well, the way I teach and do real estate on a regular basis, my credit's never been pulled, not even once. So you don't even really need credit, just the way I do it. Like I said earlier, the cash, the credit, or the knowledge. When you got the knowledge, you don't have to do the credit or the cash, because you know how to structure deals. So nobody will even know you ever had a bankruptcy or anything, because it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Just for all intents and purposes, because you're not using your credit. You're not getting.
Oh, correct. Yeah, because you're not getting a loan for any house whatsoever. You're literally buying a piece of paper and assigning it to someone else and making the difference of those two numbers. That's all you're doing, literally. So they're not pulling credit. They're not checking credit. They don't even care if you have a bank account or not. You can get your check as a check. Like, so they honestly don't care. They don't care about your credit. They don't care about your criminal record. You know, like, wholesaling is literally for anyone if you do it right.
You can just walk right out of prison and go start wholesaling.
Literally, you can. Like, who's going to do a background check? It's like an independent job. So you are your own boss. You create your own check. So none of that even matters.
Most definitely. And Mike, if you want to learn more about this, go to wokerealestate.com. I got over 250 free real estate training videos where you can learn everything from the rooter to the tutor in this business, whether it's wholesaling, creative real estate, all of that stuff, talking to sellers, buyers, finding deals, all that stuff's all broken down at wokerealestate.com. All right, Miss Ayla. Let's see here if we had any other questions in here from anybody. If y'all have any other questions, ask them now, because we're about to wrap this thing up soon. What type of books, podcasts, and other resources do you recommend for people that's getting into entrepreneurship, trying to leave that 9 to 5, and get into this real estate business?
Honestly, I rarely ever listen to podcasts, and I know that's bad because they give so much good information. But I just love reading books, anything that's self-development or anything regarding real estate. I've even done audio books before. That Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's probably like the number one book that people are going to get into when it comes to real estate. I probably have like 15 real estate books, and I can't even think of the name of them. I read The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. I think that was like a King Solomon book or something. That was such a good book because it teaches you so many life lessons. Because not everything I read is real estate related, but if it's just like a self-development book, you'll be able to kind of combine the both.
I thought you was about to say The Richest Man in Babylon. That's the other book everybody liked too. But
yeah, everybody always thinks that one, but it's called The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. It's such a good book. I read one that was called 1 Minute, what is it called? 1 Minute Manager or something. That one is good if you just want to start your own wholesaling operation. It teaches, it's the quick book. It'll literally take you like an hour and a half or something to read. That is a good book. But that honestly teaches you a lot of people skills, how to talk to people, how to correct them if they're incorrect, how to coach people. So that's really good if you want to actually do some type of operation to where people are under you. It's really good management skills.
that's right. Keep your stuff straight. I know that's right. The Richest Man in Babylon. That's what they was thinking too. They said, thanks. Let's see here. Enjoying. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Give it a like. Give it a share. Tag somebody if you're watching on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and bang that bell to be notified of the upcoming shows as well. Let's see here. So anything else you want to let the family know before we wrap this thing up, Miss Ayla?
Send me your deals.
What are you looking for? Wait a minute. I'm selling something. What are you looking for, Miss Ayla?
What do you mean, for selling a deal?
No, for as a deal. What are you looking for as far as a deal? Are you looking just for something to JV, something to buy yourself, something to wholesale? What are you looking for?
To JV or to wholesale it.
Okay, cool.
Preferably in Texas, but I always try for any other market too. Just don't expect much out of me because I don't have like actually relationship built, but I'll still try. And personally, I don't use hard money. No.
Damon Brown say, do you ever use hard money? Have you ever used hard money?
No, I haven't. I've worked with buyers who have, and there's nothing wrong with it because they still buy, but it's a lot more to it because you have to get approved for these loans. So it's not going to be the quickest transactions you do, but I've done it before. I just prefer cash.
Yeah, I used hard money one time where I actually bought a house with hard money. But it wasn't even that I was keeping that house. It was really like a delayed wholesale. The dude was acting all weird, like, oh, we need you to close. I was like, damn. So I went on and closed on it, paid the closing costs, and sold it like 2 weeks later. So it was like a delayed wholesale because he was like in a rush. So I was like, I ain't going to mess this deal up. I wish I could have kept that house, really, but whatever. Part of the game. Cool, Ayla. So where can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you outside of this stream? If they watch you on the replay and say, I kind of like her spirit, where do they find you at?
There's my real estate Instagram, which is Real AY State, or just my Facebook, AY Melendez, MELENDEZ. So
you want them to reach out to you on Instagram?
Either one. If it's a deal in there, I'm always going to make time to look at it.
New available now. It's a deal. Put me in. All right. So I want to say thank you for coming on. Hopefully people got something out of this. Hopefully they learned something. So you inspire somebody, let them know that it's real. Because a lot of people don't even believe this business is real and it can really change lives. You think it's life changing, right?
It definitely is. All it takes is your first check, literally, for you to be like, that's what makes you determine if you want to do it or if you can do it, is your first check, that first transaction, that first deal that actually closes. Yeah,
because that's how I felt. I was like, dang, one deal makes it real. Everything else is just fake. You know, it's like, oh, that's not real. You can't do that. Shoot, you want to be
just trying until you actually accomplish it and get paid. And you're like, okay, I can keep trying. I can keep doing this.
That's right. All right, Miss Ayla, thank you for coming on. All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, you too. And that's how we do it, family, right here each and every Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share, whether you're watching it on Twitch, Periscope, Instagram, well, Instagram's gone, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, give us a shout out, give us a thumbs up, share it out, tag somebody, let them know that we're existing here. We're live. We do this thing for you. It don't cost you nothing but a show up and a thumbs up. What's up? A show up and a thumbs up. How you lose on that? So don't forget, we'll be on tomorrow night. That's going to be Tuesday on with Mr. Rich Groves and the Hootie's House Buyers Club. We're going to be on with him September 29th. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's basically a national, all across the United States, real estate virtual meetup. It's a Zoom call. If you want to be added to the list to know when to come on and get the link, all you have to do is go to that website at the bottom there called stlviplist.com. That'll get you on the email list, stlviplist.com. We'll be doing that. We do it every other Tuesday, so make sure you're tuned in for that. Next week on Monday night, 7 o'clock Central Time on October 5th, we're going to be doing how I'm making $600 a month passive cash flow on this beautiful house. It's a creative real estate case study, going to break everything down, how we found it, how we structured the deal, some of the magic words we said, how do we do it on the back end, everything. We're going to break it down. Beautiful house there. We're going to break that down next Monday on the 5th of October. Also, Monday, October the 12th, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, we're on with Chris Senegal. What to do about gentrification. I know what to do. Buy back the block. That's exactly what he did down in Houston, Texas. So we'll be on with him on Monday, October the 12th. And if you ever want to be notified of any of the upcoming streams, don't forget, go ahead and text JV to 31996. That'll get you that free joint venture agreement, some paperwork to make that paperwork. It'll help you work with other wholesalers, real estate agents, or other real estate investors to partner on deals. It's a free document, giving it to you, and you get on the notification squad of the upcoming streams just by sending that keyword, which is JV, to 31996. Text JV to 31996. All right. And don't forget, if you are listening on the Woke Real Estate Podcast on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Amazon, be sure to give us a 5-star rating because we need it to get up in the algorithm. We're trying to reach more people. We need you. So help us out right there. That'll be great as well. And this show was brought to you today by wokesource.com. Get more leads than you can handle. That's especially for people like Lion314 that was asking, how do I find deals? You go there, you can get 10,000 leads per month. Download it right into your computer. It's a free trial. It's a prop stream. Wokesource.com. Wokesource.com. That's the website for that. And the skip tracing is wokeskiptracing.com, where you can get the phone numbers to reach those people. So you can give them a call. Say, hey, you want to sell? What you want to do, man? Do that. Wokeskiptracing.com. And if you need the contracts, the paperwork to do any type of deal, whether you're doing a subject to, wraparound mortgage, lease option, or any of these other type of creative deals or wholesaling, go to wokerealestates.com. Get the free training there, or sign up for the actual coaching program where I walk you through deals hand in hand from the beginning to the end, from the start to the finish, from the alpha to the omega. In fact, one of my coaching students just got his first deal locked up. He only been in the program 2 weeks. Shouts out to him. He's up in New Jersey. He's actually he already got it sold too. He locked it up for $16,000. He sold it to an end buyer already for $25,000. So it's going into escrow. He's gonna make $9,000 on a deal on his first deal. So we waiting to get it in escrow. We ain't counting them chickens before they hatch, but that's his first deal just from taking massive action and doing everything step by step. So like I said, he went through the coaching program and he's one of the students now. So that can be you if you want to learn the business for real, or just go watch all the videos. I give the game away for free. Just watch all the videos, 250 free videos at wokerealestates.com. All right. So let's see here. How does it take to get paid? What do you mean? How long does it take? As soon as it closes escrow, usually a week or two sometime. Oh, no problem. Jess, good to see you on as well. Divine Star of the Sea. Wow, that's right. One check can change everything. I mean, how long do it take you to make a $10,000 check or a $20,000 check or a $30,000 check? I've seen people make $50,000s and $100,000. Actually, if you look back on one of our previous broadcasts with E. Marie, she did a $147,000 wholesale deal. That's not normal, but it was done. I like to see that stuff right here in St. Louis. One deal, $147,000 on one wholesale deal. No cash, no credit, no degrees, no license required. Worked the deal, did the paperwork, and closed the deal up. Sweet. Same thing I said. I can dig it. Cool. So hopefully you all enjoyed this here. So share this out, invite your followers and things like that. And I will catch you on the next one. So do what you do, be who you be, and I'll see you before you see me. Peace.
And we here. And we here. And we here. Mr. I stay woke. And Mr. I stay.
Today's broadcast is being brought to you by wokeskiptracing.com. Look up phone numbers and email addresses with ease, with pricing as low as only 15 cents per match, not per search, per match. If there's no number or email address, you don't pay. Get accurate data in just minutes. Wokeskiptracing.com. That's wokeskiptracing.com.